Okay, today what we're going to do are a bunch of problems dealing with the concepts we learned this week on batteries and electrical terminology. So when you do your problems, make sure you remember that I'm grading you based on your work. I want to see neat, organized, logical work. I don't care so much about the final answer. I'm more interested in your thought processes and the way you're able to communicate those thoughts to me. Okay, so the first one you're going to be dealing with is an electric Chevy Volt. It's going to tell you the power that you can get from the car. It's going to tell you how long you're accelerating for, and it wants you to figure out how much energy you're giving to the car. And if that energy turns into kinetic energy, how fast will the car be moving after that time has elapsed? So assume the car starts at rest at a red light, the light turns green, you accelerate. Okay, so it starts out with your power in kilowatts. Make sure you turn it into watts. Make sure you remember those watts are joules per second. And then if you multiply by the number of seconds, you will get your number of joules. You take those number of joules, put them into the kinetic energy equation. Use that to find the velocity, since we have the mass of the car. And once you have your velocity, turn it into miles per hour. So again, I did not put my work up here neatly, nor did I show you all of the steps you need to go through, but hopefully this is enough to get you started and hopefully get you through the problem. Okay, problem number 2 is dealing with a Ford electric pickup truck. It gives you a bunch of different things. It tells you the rating of the battery at 131 kilowatt hours. Make sure you put those into watt hours. Remember, when you're doing watt hours, you do joules per second, you turn the hours into seconds, and that will tell you how many joules you have on your battery. It also tells you the battery has a certain voltage. Remember that volts is joules per coulomb. Okay, so you should be able to use this fraction to turn joules into coulombs. That will tell you how many coulombs are on your battery, okay? And then it tells you that you are charging it at 500 amps. And remember that amps are coulombs per second, and you should be able to use this fraction to turn the coulombs into seconds. So again, you're getting the joules of the battery, you're turning the joules into coulombs, and then you're turning the coulombs into seconds. Once you have it in seconds, I think it would be more appropriate to describe the charging time in minutes. So this is a very important problem because you're trying to figure out how long it's going to take you to fully charge your vehicle. Okay, number 3, we're having a person who's turning a van into a mobile home. So a lot of people are doing this. Okay, they find it more liberating to have a home that they could move around with them, explore the country, but they still want to have some of the conveniences of modern electrical appliances. So this person is going to power their home using a 200 amp hour battery. Turn that into coulombs. Figure out how many coulombs are on the battery. You then have the voltage. Again, voltage is joules per coulomb. So you should be able to turn the coulombs into joules. How many joules are there on the battery? And finally, they're going to try to recharge their battery using a solar panel that can generate 200 watts. So remember that watts are joules per second, and you should be able to turn your answer from before from joules into seconds based on your factor label. Once you have it in seconds, it's probably more appropriate to turn it to minutes and then turn the minutes into hours. Again, this will let the person know how much time they would need to have their solar panels collecting energy at a rate of 200 watts to fully recharge their batteries. Okay, on this one, we're looking at a charging pack similar to the kind I have here. And what we're doing is we want to know how many times we can recharge the battery on our phone. So what you want to do is start with your 400,000 milliamp hours, put it into amp hours, and turn that into coulombs. Once you have it in coulombs, you're then going to use your voltage, which is joules per coulomb, to figure out how many joules are on your power pack. Then you're recharging your iPhone 13 Pro Max. It tells you the size of the battery. Turn the watt hours into joules, and then compare these two. Let's say you got a number here of 100, obviously you won't, and you got a number here of, let's say 5, you won't. You would see that your power pack has 20 times the energy of the battery on your phone, which means you could recharge your phone 20 times. So this is the process you're going to go through to figure out how many times you could recharge your phone with a battery pack. A very important thing you might want to do if you're going on a long trip, to figure out how much time you can use your phone each day based on the number of times you're able to recharge before you get back to a power outlet. Finally, we're going to do one with a Chromebook. So it tells you the watt hours of the Chromebook. Watt hours, you turn into joules. Voltage, joules per coulomb. So you should be able to figure out how many coulombs are on your battery using some factor label. We're charging our Chromebook with a charger of 2.4 amps. Turn the amps into coulombs per second, and you should be able to turn the coulombs into seconds, which you could then turn into minutes or hours, whichever one seems more appropriate. So hopefully these quick rundowns will help you out if you get stuck on any of these problems.